Alright, here we go. There's no intro. I don't have an intro. How do I do this? What is this? Welcome back. Thank you for stopping by. I'd offer you a cup of tea, but it'd get cold by the time it got to you. I'm in the process of working on a couple of videos right now. I just got the books for one yesterday, so I'm going to probably spend this week reading all the books, and then the week after I want to do one last series review of October, and then an October wrap up on other books that I've read. It's been really nice kind of doing this because I haven't like deep read any book or thing like that for a couple of years now, and it's been really nice. I used to be quite a bookworm, quite a devourer of books, if you will, which makes this video interesting because this one I want to talk about in between that is books, or more specifically authors, that I probably will not be talking about or sharing my experiences with here. Part of this is like a getting to know me and my channel and my tastes as a booktuber, whatever. If you can call me that, I'm absolutely not. Part of it, I would just like to share, I guess my expectations on what I want to accomplish with this channel, and perhaps if newcomers come here with the expectation that I might touch on maybe some of these authors or their work, let's just get to it. I just don't want to disappoint you, but yeah, these are 6 authors and their series that I probably will not be talking about. Now, to say that doesn't mean I probably won't read something by them. I'm open to that, but for the reasons I'm about to get into, it's not likely. And let's get into it why. Kind of hot out of the gate is something I won't probably be reading or sharing here is anything by Sarah J. Maas, or her infamous ACOTAR series. If you don't know, it's a Court of Thorns and Roses. It's quite popular on BookTube and BookTok, whatever that is. I'm scared of BookTok, by the way. I don't know. I'm still deciding whether I should touch that with a 10-foot pole. So, hold off on that. Now, this isn't to say, by the way, I'm not saying I dislike, necessarily these authors or their work. That's probably not the reason why I'm doing this. If you enjoy this stuff, by all means, enjoy it. We all have our tastes. I'm just telling you mine. First of all, Sarah J. Maas has already been talked about. ACOTAR has already been talked about. Her other series, already talked about. There's nothing I could probably contribute that would be interesting or valuable to it from my perspective. I've seen a lot of reviews on it. I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and I agree with a lot that's being said. So I'd be wasting my time and maybe yours by putting my 2 cents into it about it. That's for sure. I guess another big thing is that I just don't like fantasy romance. As I get into this list, I'll elaborate on why. Another author I probably won't be talking about or their work is Brandon Sanderson. Right, that's his name? I didn't look it up. If you're a fantasy nerd, I've seen a lot of people's bookshelves, and a lot of people have his work. He's very popular. He has a huge body of work, and kind of for that reason, same reason as actually kind of most of these, I've just noticed, I just don't have the time or interest in maybe delving into something like that, at least not right away. Usually with like long-standing series, or authors with very long careers and long-time veteran fans, I feel like, I guess, kind of intimidated approaching something like that and then giving commentary on it. Not to say that I couldn't or that I wouldn't, but for something like a huge body of work like what Brandon Sanderson has, I just don't think I'd say anything interesting or valuable to it. Next one is Stephen King. Now, I do love horror genre. I think out of all of the things I read, that's the one I'm most interested in, but it's also the one I'm most picky about. And because of that, I probably wouldn't delve too much at all into Stephen King. I think the last thing I read was like Salem's Lot in high school, and I was like a quarter of the way, almost done with it, but I think the school year ended and I just didn't pick it up again. I had no urge to. Thing I wouldn't read something else by him, but I just probably, again, there's he has like what, over 40 years, 50 years of something like that work, short stories, novellas, novels, movies. The movies are fun and great, and I feel like that's all I want out of a Stephen King experience. Oh well, I've also read on writing his memoir dash like advice book on writing. That's interesting. I think he's a great writer. I think all of these writers, by the way, have their own merit. Just again, as a casual horror fan, I'm more kind of interested in like haunted houses and ghost stories and gothic horror and science fiction horror. It's kind of where I want to go in terms of like a horror genre speciality, if I had to. We're entering divided territory here. Cassandra Clare. Now, I don't know if it comes across. I don't know if I've outed myself as my age, but I was a teenager around the time that these books started picking up. It was the same like era as like Twilight, or young adult. I was a young adult, probably early teens. So I remember I absolutely remember seeing all of these like covers and series, and then when I tried to read the back, I would just be like, nothing really got to me. Nothing really stuck to me. Didn't sound interesting whatsoever. So I just never picked it up, and now there's a little bit of a resurgence, perhaps. I don't know why. Was it a TV show or something? Someone better educated than me. Yeah, it just seems like it's a very niche genre with a very niche fan base that I just don't think is marketable to someone like me. Also, a lot of her themes, which I've heard about, read about, seen other reviews about, just don't vibe with me. It's not really anything I look for in a book or a series. Again, if you enjoy it, by all means, go ahead. But her predominant themes that she seems to like to write about just don't appeal to me. Another one. This is, I think, the only one for maybe not personal. Gosh, none of these are. For kind of moral reasons, more or less, is Colleen Hoover. I'm just not interested in supporting her content. Feel like she's a very formulaic author who kind of takes the same premise of a story of boy meets girl, changes some elements to it, maybe changes some themes to it, and slaps a different cover on it. And that's just not for me. I just don't like it. From what I've read excerpts of her interactions between male and female characters, and I don't like it. I really don't. They don't. There are better ways and healthier ways to have relationships like that, to talk about relationships like that, and I don't think, from what I've heard from people who are currently reading these books and whose opinions I do think are close to mine, I don't think she's in the works to challenge it, because to be honest, that's not profitable. And I get it. A gal's got to make her bread, got to get that coin. I'm all for that hustle. If that's what you do, that's just not for me. And I can say I can not read these books and not like these authors for whatever reason, and it's not going to do a thing. You know, if you don't like me for it, it's not going to affect any of these people for any reason whatsoever. They're going to be fine. So I don't feel bad about that. The last one I debated on putting on this list because it's very specific. Most of these authors I've talked about, they have a wide body of work, long-standing series running for a while, and this is more or less a new development, especially in this book scene. And I didn't really want to single out any one specific book, but in this case, because I know there's a lot of hype, and I know I see all the fucking things about it on Instagram, is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Now, I don't know if you know about me. I don't think I've said it yet. I don't think I've shown it yet. I was obsessed with dragons when I was a kid. Obsessed. Look at me. Obsessed. It was my thing. Ask anyone I grew up with. It was cringe. It was embarrassing. I loved it. Okay? So when I kind of heard that, you know, there was another kind of fantasy series of dragon themed kind of going around, I was like, ooh, okay. Could be interesting. But then I heard a lot of the reviews about it. I've seen a lot of prose excerpts from it, and I gotta say, from what I've seen, it's from what little I've seen, it seems very disappointing. Just not for my expectations. Again, I don't know if I've said this, but I do not like fantasy romance. I can read fantasy. I can read a fantasy with a romance in it, but I do not want to read a fantasy romance. Same reason why I also avoided Game of Thrones after the third book. I think that's the last one I touched, and then I got angry. That's just not for me. Again, if you enjoy this stuff, I feel like I have to reiterate that if you like this stuff, by all means, you have your reasons to like it, and I'm sure it's great. And you can still like something, and you can still critique something, and not have one affect the other. I just know from anything that I've seen or about the book or its upcoming sequel, just not for me. Yeah, just not for me. So I will not be probably covering anything. There is a chance I would read some stuff like this just to really get an understanding of it, but I'm doubtful. How are these glasses looking? Yeah, no eyeshadow today because you can't. I realized during my last videos there's no point in putting on eyeshadow because you can't really see it because I have hooded eyes and I have glasses on. So just some nice eyeliner. Cute. Cool. So yeah, that's it, I think. I have another series review. I have my first series review in the works right now that I'm planning to read all the books next week, and then the week after probably make a video for it, and then after that at the same time, or maybe even sooner, an October wrap up of all the other stuff that I've read in October, and then that may also be a November, what's on my November TBR list, to be read list. Yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, bye.